Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice of radio. So today, I am showing you a new Jumpluff card, which is going to be coming out in Lost Thunder, and ladies and gentlemen, I like this. I think this is going to see a lot of play. Now, there are several very interesting things about this Jumpluff. First of all, we did, of course, have Jumpluff back in the Heart, Gold, Soul, Silver era, which basically ruled the format, was one of the very best decks for a very, very long time, which was awesome. Secondly, this new Jumpluff is basically just like Night March, which has only really just dropped off of being the best deck in the expanded format, and it's still a force to be reckoned with in the expanded format. And thirdly, I told you that in Lost Thunder, the Lost Zone was coming back, and I scoffed at the idea that Prism Star Pokemon going to the Lost Zone when they were KO'd was really bringing back the Lost Zone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now back in a proper way, and Jumpluff is one of the best examples of it. Now, you see, Jumpluff as a Pokemon, which of course has been translated by the lovely David Hochmann over at Rappelman TCG, I mean, there's good and bad stuff when we look at it initially. 70 HP for a Stage 2 Pokemon is utterly pitiful. Back many years ago, when the Black and White expansion was released, Reuniclus had 90 HP, and we thought that was pathetic. Back when Heart, Gold, Soul, Silver was released, which was like almost 10 years ago, Jumpluff had 90 HP, now it's got 70, that's garbage, but it's alright. It has got free retreat though, which is awesome. The weakness to lightning is, it's alright to be perfectly honest, you got 70 HP, who really cares about your weakness? And you've got a resistance to fighting, which will at least help if a Buzzwole is using Jet Punch, but do remember you've got 70 HP. So yeah, the basics, I love the free retreat is awesome, the rest of it, ugh. But then again, it's a grass Pokemon, which means that you are hitting weakness against stuff like Lycanroc, which is still seeing a lot of play. And you will be able to use Life Forest Prism Star to heal 60 damage and all special conditions from one of your grass Pokemon, Jumpluff, once during your turn. But you got 70 HP. Who really cares? The thing is, you've got one attack, and it's for one basic grass energy, or I suppose you could use a rainbow energy or something else, but you can use it for one basic grass. And it does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your Lost Zone, excluding Prism Star Pokemon, which is super annoying, but it kind of would have to, otherwise you could just use stuff like Ultra Ball to hammer a whole bunch of Prism Stars in the Lost Zone, and then this would get over the top quickly. Okay, it would be broken if it included Prism Stars. But even so, if you can get a bunch of Prism Star Pokemon in the Lost Zone, you get to do 20 damage for each one in there. Which, of course, then starts looking like Night March, because Night March did 20 damage for each Night Marcher in your discard pile. So this is clearly a great attack, but it's on a 70 HP Stage 2, and we need to get Pokemon into the Lost Zone for this to work. Now, at this stage, I would love to have something like the old Relicanth, which was amazing. Single prize Pokemon, choose a card from your hand, put it in the Lost Zone, draw 3 cards, so you're doing an extra 20 damage while drawing cards to set up. I would love this, but it's not legal, so who really cares? But you see, these problems are all solved by Skiploom. Skiploom's got a redonkulous ability that says, once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Jumpluff. Then put this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into the Lost Zone, and put the chosen Jumpluff where this Pokemon used to be. So, this is a Stage 1. So you take your Hoppip, evolve it into a Skiploom, and then you can immediately Lost Zone them, and in comes your Jumpluff. And this does 2 things that you desperately need. First of all, it basically turns Jumpluff into a Stage 1 Pokemon. There's none of that rare candy rubbish going on here, because as soon as you get a Stage 1 out, you just replace it, you search your deck for Jumpluff and replace it, so literally as soon as you get your Stage 1 Skiploom, you've got your Jumpluff. That's great. Secondly, it puts 2 Pokemon into the Lost Zone. Now, to be fair, and we'll talk about this more in a moment, this is pretty much as far as you're getting easily Pokemon into Lost Zone. But that's 8 Pokemon in the Lost Zone, 4 Hoppips, 4 Skiplooms. Well, that's 160 damage for a single grass energy on a Jumpluff. 160 is the number at the moment. Non-GXs like Solgaleo Prism Star and Empoleon, that's about as high as you get, 160. So they're all going down. You add a Choice Band and you're up to 190, and then you've got stuff like Buzzwole and Rayquaza that are going down. Yes, you've still got some like Zoroark that have got 210 and will survive 190, but you can use stuff like Professor Kukui, or you can just spread a bit of damage in the early game. I mean, goodness, we've got Pokemon like Tapu Koko, does 20 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon, and it's got free retreat. You're going to need to play some basics that aren't Hoppip, so it's really not the end of the world here. And now, this is phenomenal. Now we look at the 70 HP and we go, yeah, I don't really care anymore. Nobody really cares about the 70 HP, because in theory, if you can get your 4 Stage 1 Skiplooms out, then you end up with 4 Stage 2 Jumpluffs, except they're all on the bench. So you're good, and you don't have to worry about evolving them anymore. And then you've got 8 Pokemon in the discard, so you're rocking with a whole bunch of non-GXs that are doing 160 damage. This is why Jumpluff's got to have a tiny HP. Can you imagine if it had 160 HP? All you would need to do is play Max Potion, and then you'd have a bunch of non-GXs that were hard to one-hit KO that were all hitting for 160. Yes, it's got 70 HP, but given that Skiploom basically makes it a Stage 1, Skiploom gets all the Pokemon in the Lost Zone pretty easily, and you're essentially hitting 160 for a single energy on a Stage 1, which is what this boils down to. You can probably understand why it has to have 70 HP. If you can get your Skiploom out early, this is phenomenal. Now, sure, chances are you're going to have some element of this prize. It's unlikely that all 4 Hoppips, all 4 Skiploons, and all 4 Jumpluff will escape the prizes. So it's unlikely that all of these will be hitting for 160. But on turn 2, you could legitimately be hitting for, I don't know, 80 damage if you got 2 Skiploon, or 120 if you've got 3. Every time you evolve up into Skiploon, you get 2 Pokemon in your Lost Zone, and your Jumpluff comes right out, which is awesome. And then, of course, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, this very much reminds me of Night March, so I start digging through Japanese scans, they're all on the official Japanese website, and I notice that the Natu has the same attack. Look at the cards side by side. It's clearly the same attack. Now, this is for a double colourless energy, but remember, we may wish to start the game with Tapu Koko, so double colourless is fine, and it does the same thing. So here's what I'm thinking. Yes, your first couple of Jumpluff probably aren't going to be hitting 160 because you'll have to get some Hoppips and Skiploom out of your prizes. Fine. But when all your Jumpluff are down and you are hitting 160, in comes Natu. And now Natu's hitting 160 for a double colourless energy, and yes, it's got 40 HP, which is tiny, but it doesn't really matter. By the time you start using Natu, you should be near the end of the game. You should at that point have all 8 of your Pokemon in the Lost Zone, and Natu comes in hitting 160. Except actually now you're hitting weakness on Buzzwole, you're hitting weakness on the Crozma, you're hitting weakness on Naganadel. So in the early game here, maybe you don't use your Jumpluff. Maybe you use Natu in the early game and save your Jumpluff. Because Jumpluff's for 1 basic energy, this is for a double colourless. This is awesome, ladies and gentlemen. These are non-GXs hitting for 160 for 1 energy attachment. And sure, right, they're not going to take a hit from pretty much anything. They're going to go down straight away. But Skiploom's giving you the consistency you need. They both take 1 energy attachment. And here's something really important to note. This will get better in the future. Because we're going to get other cards that put stuff in the Lost Zone. Maybe you're against a Tyranitar deck. Well, Tyranitar's got an ability that says all of your knocked out Pokemon go into the Lost Zone. Against a Tyranitar deck, it will be hilarious how easily you're getting rid of them using Jumpluff, because okay, Tyranitar's got 250 HP, but every time they KO anything, it goes to the Lost Zone, and you get an extra 20 damage. That's brilliant. And there'll be more. There'll be more of your opponent's Pokemon that put you in the Lost Zone. You'll probably get something in the future, like Relicanth or similar, that puts your own Pokemon in the Lost Zone. This is a great deck now, when we don't have that many options. Skiploom, Jumpluff, and Natu alone is brilliant, and let's just say it, 5 Wassies. Yeah? 5 Wassies, you're talking single prize, single energy Pokemon hitting for 160. Yes, your prizes mean you won't always be hitting that, but also remember that you're hitting 2 different weaknesses here, and they're both fairly relevant. And as a quick side note before I finish here, remember the Ditto from Boundaries Crossed, which will still be legal in Expanded. You can always just put a basic on it. If it's the turn you put it down, you can turn it into a Hoppip, but don't because you'll lose HP. But if it's been down for a turn, you can evolve it into a Hoppip, which is regarded as having been down for a turn, then immediately evolve into a Skiploom. Yeah, it's even better in Expanded, because you use 4 Ditto, 4 Hoppip, and then in theory, all of your Ditto evolve into Hoppip, evolve into Skiploom, and then instead of getting 8 Pokemon in the discard, you've got 12, you're hitting for 240, and it's ridiculous. Now, if you start with a Hoppip, that is 1 fewer Pokemon in the Lost Zone, but you get the point here. This could be fun. Remember, if Ditto's down for a turn and you turn it into a Hoppip, you can immediately evolve it. This is going to be a lot of fun. I expect this deck to see a lot of play. It's a 5 Wossie card. By a 5 Wossie card, I mean the combination of the 3. I know I'd like to give each card their own video, but there is absolutely no way I could split up these 3. That would have been dumb. So you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me how excited you are about this deck in the comment section. Go nuts, but remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.